morning. Feeling good, feeling great. You know we had the herbal tea and the shake. I'm ready to turn up. Check out Snapchat. I almost bit like a chunk out of the canister. I was just fired up. Got some great rest last night. Had an amazing weekend, and I'm just fired up for life. Roxy's going to jump over here in a second. She's fired up too. And we're excited for Triple M Monday Morning Motivation. Welcome everybody that's tuning in live on the call. Thank you guys for tuning in. And everybody that's watching the recording, thank you guys for watching it. Today we've got an amazing video by a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V. He's a social media genius. And I heard about this guy actually from one of our team members, Moses, in the Seattle region. He was like, hey, you should check this guy out. He really knows what he's talking about. And he does. So what he talks about is that he said something that was really insightful. He said that TV is now like the radio. And your phone, your favorite YouTube show or channel is now like TV used to be. That main primary thing, like how you had your favorite show. Now I'm sure you don't even probably have a favorite show. You watch your favorite things, but you can watch it at the clickable button on YouTube or Netflix or Instagram or Facebook. He's that insightful. So he's not only going to be talking about that, he built his dad's wine business up from 3 million to 50 million, like they'll say in the video. But he did it through YouTube, a thing called WineLibrary.com. So really good. I'm checking out his book, and you should too. It's called Ask Gary V. He just answers a bunch of questions all the time with great levels of insight. I really like the way the guy's mind works. So without further ado, let's listen to this guy. Take your notes. Be ready to share live on the call after. And without further ado, let's get it in for Gary V.
Step back and remind myself. After hours, everybody.
An internet personality.
After graduating college in 1998, he assumed control of his father's liquor store business.
Through e-commerce and email marketing, he grew his father's business from $3 million to $50 million in revenue.
He's Gary Vaynerchuk, and here are his top 10 rules for success.
You need to bet on your strengths and don't give a f about what you suck at. Way too many people in this room are gonna spend the next 30, 40 years of their lives trying to check the boxes of the things that they're not as good at, and that you're gonna waste a load of time and lose. I highly recommend auditing yourself, or if you have no empathy or EQ or self-awareness, then find somebody in your family or friendship that does and let them tell you who you are. And once you believe that, either for yourself or someone else told you, go directly all chips all into that, because that is the only possible way, in my opinion, watching from the outside, that is, let me rephrase, that is a very highly likely way of over-indexing, because the truth is, if you want to be an anomaly, you've got to act like one. You know, and so that's it. That's what I got. So thanks for having me. How do you get money to do what you love? You don't, right? I lost a load of money when I started doing what I loved. What you do is you position yourself to succeed. So for example, if you're doing something else and you want to do this thing you love, you do it after hours. You work 9 to 6, you get home, you kiss the dog, and you go to town. Right? I mean, you start building your equity and your brand and whatever you're trying to accomplish after hours. Everybody has time. Stop watching Lost. That's a good overheard, right? That was a good overheard. So, you know what I mean? I mean, if you want this, if you want bling bling, if you want to buy the jets, if you want to do work, that's how you get it.
My question is, I'm an entrepreneur, it's very great, but not all days are great in a company. So what are your tips and tricks for, tough days?
I think there's massive confusion around entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship sucks. I mean, it's lonely, it's high risk. I mean, I can't live without it, but it's like a bad boyfriend, right? Or girlfriend, right? There's a ton of bad days being an entrepreneur. Not to mention 98% of entrepreneurial ventures are gonna fail. So there's gonna be a really bad day in your future. Hopefully not for you, or any of you. For me, I think this is a very personal question. I think it's how you're wired. I'm so all in entrepreneur, I prefer the pain. I think one of the reasons I love the Jets so much is because they bring me so much pain. I love the climb. To me, the setback is exciting. I love when something goes wrong. It's where I shine the most. But that's not for everybody. right? I mean, it can be very difficult. And when you start affecting your life and your loved ones and all the other things, it can get real nasty. To me, the way I handle things, even in the few rare days when I really struggle, I take a real step back and make pretend that somebody called me and told me that my mother or daughter were killed. And I know it's very dark, and I apologize, but it's really what I do. I literally am able to, at my deepest, most struggling moment within business, take a step back and remind myself that I could make $1 trillion tomorrow on Bitcoin, and if something bad happened to the people I love the most, that it would mean nothing. And it very consistently rewires me very quickly. I just put business in perspective. At the end of the day, you know, it's money. For me, it's not really money, it's my legacy, so I get hurt by it a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I put it in perspective. It's money. And you know what? Up until I had a daughter, even while I was married, up until when I had Misha 4 years ago, I secretly wanted to lose all my money. I had this weird, twisted, dark fantasy of losing everything just to rise again like a phoenix and remind you My assistant's got a great thing now in this. Once in every 4 months, somebody sends an email saying, I've got a huge startup that I want you to invest in, but you've got to sign this NDA, right? Which literally every time gets an email back that says, F you, right? And the reason is, I'm a humongous believer that ideas are shit and that execution's the game, right? We've all got ideas. Everybody's got ideas. Do you mean ideas we all have here? We could probably sit here for the next 2 hours, draw them all out, record them, and predict the next 78 great startups over the next 9 years. And so I think the thing that is another theme in entrepreneurship is there is way too much fodder brought to the idea. Uber was Magic Cab 3 years earlier. Uber is not an idea. Uber existed. It's called Magic Cab. But the guys that executed it sucked. So they lost. So I think, you know, if there's any level of romance left in this room about your idea, I'd like to suffocate it. Because I think the actual situation is what you actually do with it. You know, the reason I feel storytelling is the most underrated skill in business is because it doesn't get talked about a whole lot. And I don't think that people realize it's happening when it's happening. And most of all, I don't think that many people are really good at it. So like when I watch a Steve Jobs keynote about a new product, I don't care about the new tech. I don't care about the iPad or the iPhone. I cared about the way he was presenting it. You know, when I see David Blaine, this is a magician. If you ever pay attention to what he's doing, he's storytelling you the whole way, and then it's the big kick. So if you understand what the consumer wants, then you backtrack and you tell the story to get them emotionally there. That's how things sell. That's marketing. There's a very big difference between marketing and sales. And so the reason I think that people are missing why things succeed is because of storytelling. And I think it's overlooked. I think people look at the X's and O's and the black and the white, but I think storytelling, when done right, takes a product that should have sold $100 million worth of stuff, and it sells $1 billion worth of stuff. In 2001, it snowed in New Jersey on December 23rd, which was one of the busiest days of the year. Typically, December 23rd is the busiest day of the year in a liquor store. And a woman called us, we just started shipping, and her case of Beringer White Zinfandel wasn't delivered. First of all, I appreciate the people that know what Beringer White Zin is, good job. The entire case, by the way, 15-pack, the entire 15-pack case cost $45. We're doing about $40,000 an hour in the store. She calls. I find out about it. Somehow it was buzzing because I was on the floor selling. I am the premier salesman on the floor, as you can imagine. I find out about it, and we're debating what to do. She needs it for her Christmas dinner. I grab the case, throw it in my car, and drive to Bergen County to deliver it. It takes me 2.5 hours to complete the whole thing. The woman was 194 years old. We didn't have a lot of lifetime value on the back end there. She looked like Yoda. And the best part was, I delivered it all pumped with myself, and she said, great, and closed the door. Awesome. Everybody, especially my dad, who was pissed that I left because all the customers that came in asking for me or that I could have sold, everybody was baffled. I can't tell you what the ROI of driving through the snow in my car to deliver a case of $45 pink shit to a woman that looked like Yoda was. But I can tell you this, over the next 2 to 3 years, that story became the foundation of how we treated every single customer. It became our competitive edge. And those are the things that matter to me. I love black and white data. I'm obsessed with it. The day when the nerd beat me, I understood that the nerds beat me. And I respect the living out of data, conversion funnels, all that shit. But I'm telling you right now that there are way too many running businesses today with this, and not enough people running businesses with this. And again, I swear on my life, I am not Mother Teresa, and I'd fall from run my business just on this. But I'm telling you right now, the reason I amassed my following, the reason why I continue to retain it, is because my percentage of this far outweighs every in this room. I mean it. That's how I feel, and that's how I try to roll every day. And I promise you, if you are able to figure out how to afford the allocation of this in your business more, your long-term value will be dramatically higher. Your long-term business success will be dramatically higher. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents built businesses based on this. It's how we built the whole thing. We got really lean and mean when we went to the suburbs and big box stores, and all we cared about was dollars, and it's great. And the data matters, and continue to use it, and use this tool and understand it. But I'm asking you one final thing. When you go home, if this talk meant anything, and by the way, I fundamentally believe only 3 of you are gonna act on this talk. I do. Because what I talk about is ridiculously hard and massively frustrating and takes forever. You know, like everything that's good in life. If you do anything because of this keynote, there's only one thing I ask you to do. Because as zenny as I got, I'm a practical Here's from you. When you go home, look yourself in the mirror and audit everything you and your business do. I promise you that if you audit from top to bottom of expenses and effort and time and energy and payroll and all that shit, if you audit all of it, even the best of us, even the InBevs, which is the company that bought Budweiser, they built their whole business on like printing on both sides of the paper and all that horse shit. Even the most efficient ones of us are doing 20% dumb shit. If you take that 8%, that 13%, that 16% of dumb shit that you're doing, paying that person that's not bringing any cultural value to your business, having that contract that you just renewed because you're busy as fuck, whatever the fuck you're doing, if you take any piece of that percentage and you apply it to giving a fuck about your customer, it will be better for your business going forward, because for the first time since we all lived in small towns where your reputation was the complete backbone of how you did business, for the first time, because technology is bringing us back together in a small town, for the first time, being good and caring and following up matters. It matters. How about doing something random act of kindness for a current customer, not the ones that unsubscribed or left? You know how you always do nice shit when they're going? How about while you've got them? Reallocate your thought process, I'm telling you, because the tools that is the umbrella of this event are getting so good. So good. You know what that means? All that shit's about to become a commodity. Emotional EQ is going to dominate business over the next decade, and I implore you to start paying attention. And oh, by the way, I'll leave you with this. You know what the best part is? It feels good. Thank you. The ability to adjust is the entire game. Like, I'm so proud that I change my mind every day. My dad used to get so pissed when I was building Wine Library. He would always be like, he would say like, 3 months ago you said Ricky was gonna be the best employee. I'm like, I changed my mind. He fire him. Or he's like, you said sparkling wine was important, now you just eliminated it from the key spot. I'm like, I changed my mind. Like, my ability to only be comfortable in massive chaos has been my biggest asset as an entrepreneur. Like, I would never take a note. Like, that scares the piss out of me what these 3 people are doing right now, right? And so, now, that may work for them, and I'm not, like, back to the opening statement, like, you need to do you. Like, plenty of people that make a load more money than me and have won bigger take notes. The key is way too many people are doing, like, here's a good one. You know what really pissed me the off? I'm completely driven by like happiness and like I'm crippled by like chaos. Like, you know, Vaynermedia, which is now 500 people, update your Vaynermedia is like completely dictated by, like, I'm a dictator of HR. Like, all I care about is the atmosphere. All I care about is how people, all I care about is like how people roll. Like, I think I fired the 4 most talented, smartest people that have worked for me, because if you don't know how to play with the other boys and girls, you're out, because I suffocate under, you know, conflict and negativity, and like nobody's better than me, so you gotta go. So what really pissed me off in tech world was when Steve Jobs' book came out, when he was dying, when it was all about Steve 3 or 4 years ago. I literally watched a lot of my tech startup friends start being like a dick to their staff. Because Jobs was tough, everybody fell into the romance of like, I have this big vision and I'm gonna be a dick like Steve, right? And I thought that was really interesting for me to watch that half decade of like literally watching people I know and then watching them act differently because the status or the icon of the moment, and you see a lot of that. And so like that is probably the energy I'm trying to bring to this class today, which is you can look at like how people roll and like it's great to admire and things of that nature, but it's so damn important to stick to like your DNA, right? And like what you're good at. And to recognize that you need to surround yourself, whether it's your co-founder or whether it's the people that work for you. Like, all I do is hire the people that are the opposite of me, that bring the other value, that bring me the ability to remember what the that meeting was about and go make sure it happens. You know, like whatever it may be, right? And so I think that's another thing that I would highly recognize. I delegate everything that I think is not the single most important things in the world, and then I micromanage the things that I think are the most important things in the world. Luckily for me, hence why I've been able to build big companies, I don't think most things matter. So I don't think I'm any different than anybody else. I actually think everybody is a delegator and a micromanager. I just think that my radar of what's important is different. Yes, we need to do something with that. That's the guys. That's it right there. I'm just like you. We're all the same. We all delegate, we all micromanage. The difference is, I don't think most things matter. And what do I mean by that? As I'm trying to think about somebody watching this for the first time, instead of alluding to like people that have watched forever. Most things don't matter. like I don't know, like just, I don't know, that's what it means. Like, you know, like if I was like, I don't know, I don't think lighting matters as much as D-Rock. Like, I just don't think things matter. Like, I don't think like one client that's gonna put us out a bit, like, I don't think one employee is gonna kill our atmosphere. I don't think a lot of things matter. I don't think like a misspelling in a deck is something that really matters to a lot of people in my company. It just doesn't matter to me. I just don't think so. Guys, I don't think we're gonna lose a account because we put the I before the E. And if we do, fuck them. Idiots. I don't think not wearing shoes in an establishment is, you know, the biggest thing in the world. Clearly, if you've watched Daily V1, some people do. And guess what? I do not judge. Do not judge. Everybody's allowed to do their thing. It's just like parenting. I will never spew my parenting. I talk about it, but it's very holistic. Like, this is what I do, not what I'm
That was epic. Very different. It's always great to switch it up on Triple M. I thought it was an epic, different kind of Triple M today. As you can see, Gary Vee is definitely a character. So let's get into some takeaways.
Awesome. Yeah, he was really different. He cursed a lot. It was like beep, beep. But I love how real he was. You know, he wasn't trying, kind of like how he said, like stick to your DNA and who you are. You know, and obviously cursing a lot is in his DNA, and he doesn't care about presenting to be somebody else or something that he's not. So I really love that. I loved how he talked about learning to love the setbacks in your entrepreneurship career. You know, he talked about how he's like, entrepreneurship, it's like glorified in all these things, but really he's like, it is tough and it can suck, because at the end of the day, you're responsible for everything that happens, you know, and how he said, most businesses fail, you know, so it does suck. But he's like, but in that process, even if things kind of suck, you know, and if I do have a setback, you get to learn how to break through the failure, you know. And I think that's why too I really love Herbalife and the opportunity to be an entrepreneur, you know, because there's like so much growth involved. You know, at a job, for instance, I still have a very part-time job, and at my job there's no growth opportunities, you know, like there's no and when I mean by growth, it's not a level, but really like the person that you get to become inside of your entrepreneurship, inside of your own business, as opposed to a job. You know, inside of your own business, you get to take full on like responsibility. You get to take ownership. You get to learn how to structure your days. Like there's so much learning involved that can apply to so much of your life. So I really, really love that, how he talked about that. And then this is like the second point that I really want to share on. He said, don't overlook storytelling. You know, he talked about how most, the difference between selling and marketing is always going to be the story and the tie emotionally that somebody has to the story. And most people don't just buy the product. If you say, hey, buy this cup, it's cool. Like they're going to be like, no, I'm not going to buy the cup. But if you actually state a story behind it, maybe the way that it makes you feel, and having your warm cup of tea in the morning, like adding that whole storyline can change someone's perspective as to buying this cup. So I really love that, because inside of Herbalife, that's exactly what we do. And you don't have to be in Herbalife, but inside of Herbalife, our stories are what people are attracted to. Most people come to you not because, yes, they will come to you because of the products, but know that the products are available. Like people could go onto my Herbalife and they can just buy the products and it'll connect them to a distributor. But the awesome thing is that inside of Herbalife, people will buy your story. And that's why people come to you, because if you even like look under a hashtag Herbalife, you'll find a lot of Herbalifers. But if they come to you, it's because they bought into you and who you are. So those are some of my biggest takeaways. And I'm going to pass it over to Aubrey.
Awesome. Epic. I love that. I was taking some Snapchat notes for you guys that don't know Snapchat, really trying to work on that. I love just kind of the way this dude's mind works. It's always amazing to hear different perspectives. You know, a lot of the times on Triple M, we get these great, wise people, and that's awesome. And I think Gary is wise. I think he's just wise in Gary's way. So I'm going to just give you two takeaways. Ideas are, you know, expletive, crap, as he said it. He said execution is key. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he said Uber was Magic Cab. I'd never heard of Magic Cab, but I could imagine that it was here before Uber was. You know, was Nike the first shoe? You know, was Herbalife the first meal replacement shake? You know, I don't know. I don't think they were. I just think they executed better than everybody else. And you know what? Herbalife wasn't the best. Mark Hughes, the founder of Herbalife, worked for another nutritional shake mix network marketing company, and they went under because the founders bankrupted them because they didn't believe. And then Mark Hughes started his own company, #1 nutrition company in the world, in 90+ countries, doing what a nutrition company has never done. Why? Because execution. He got to work. The first year he worked out of his trunk, did $1 million of business from his trunk. He executed like a monster. So you can have all these ideas. The average human has 60,000 thoughts go through their head every single day, you know? But how many actions are they taking from those thoughts and ideas? So I love that. Care about your customers. Care about your customers more than you just care about the data. I love the story he told. That's also in his book I'm listening to. But if you really understood, I really took away, he said, technology is bringing us back together, and now more than ever, your reputation matters. Back in the day, it didn't, because now you could just go online and purchase something and nobody knows whether it's good or not. That's what Yelp does. Why do people get mad at Yelp when they put a bad review? They put a bad review because you did something that wasn't good. Just like if you put a good review. I don't know about you guys. When we're checking out a restaurant, we check out Yelp.
Always on Yelp.
And we're like, yo, they got a lot of reviews. Bottega Louie has 13,000 Yelp reviews. I've never seen that many. Why they always pack like crazy? Because now technology is bringing us back together, so your reputation matters, and that is crucial because your reputation is true. Your reputation is how you've treated people. So it said, care about your customers. I really like that. There were some other great takeaways, but I don't want to take them away from everybody. Let's get 2 shares, or 3 if they're quick. Who's excited to share? If you can, let me see a smile or a thumbs up. Okay, my man Anthony. Okay, let's get it, Ant. Let me take you off mute. You're good to go.
Good morning, y'all. Just lost it. One of my takeaways was Rocky took most of them, but the whole DNA, be your own DNA, and I think it was also important when you said use your heart, work from your heart instead of your mind. So I thought that was a really good takeaway from me as well.
Let's get it. Great work, Ant. Great stuff. Down 19 pounds. Beast in his nutrition program. Great work. Let's get another takeaway. Who else is excited to share? Let me see a thumbs up or a smile or just look at us.
Let's see.
Okay, let's get Sarah Gubb from Fresno. Let's get it. What's up, Sarah?
How are you guys?
Great.
I took away from last week's also with Lisa Nichols because she actually did play. She spoke more on the storytelling part. You got to emphasize your story. So that coincides with last week's take on Lisa. And then this is actually my second time hearing this guy, and he's amazing. Like, he's so real. So that's what I really took from with the storytelling. You got to really tell your story.
Nice.
You
awesome.
have to emphasize everything on it. That was my favorite.
Awesome. Great work. Thanks for the share. Live from the Fresno area. Love it. Storytelling. You said there's a difference between selling and marketing. I love that. We got time for one more share. Mo, Hazel, Myra, Orlando, who's up for sharing? Let me see. Go ahead and just come off mute if you're excited about sharing. They're all deep within the nuggets. Well, let's get this. Hazel, what's up? Are you there? Let me see if she can share. Hazel, can you hear us? I unmuted you.
Hey, I'm working, so I'm listening at the same time.
No problem. You don't have to put your video on. You just want to give us a quick takeaway?
The thing is that calls are going to come through, and I can't see.
Okay.
A call just came through right now.
No problem. Glad you're able to tune in. All right, let's get it. Great work, people listening, even at work. There's how you work on yourself at work. I love it. All right, you guys, we're going to upload the video, post it to YouTube, share the link, and pay it forward. Invite every single Monday to this call because every Monday we get better, and we're just finding new videos to listen to together and grow together. So excited. Remember, every Wednesday we also have the Herbalife Nutrition Power Call. We're going to have a great guest speaker sharing her story. She's actually from the Northern California area. So excited to hear her transformation, her favorite Herbalife products, and how she got in the best shape of her life and also started paying it forward and now is a full-time Herbalife member. So don't miss out. You guys have a great and amazing week. I'm going to unmute everybody. Where the energy at? Hey!
Let's go.
Hey, guys, Monday.
That DNA. Let's have a great week. Peace.